welcome back to F1 Manager 24 Creator Team Mode here in Azerbaijan for the first time in this series. A lot later in the calendar, of course, what with Japan, effectively. The only bit of news since we rounded off the last episode is actually that Randeep Singh did get back to us before this race in the end, and we are now back in negotiation with him. He just wanted a certain amount of money in terms of what his salary was at McLaren, but I think we probably will get him on this counter negotiation. So, in theory, we should be nicking two people from McLaren, but it's two people that McLaren are replacing anyway. In fact, I think they're replacing their entire suite because, although actually no, we don't know if they're replacing Neil yet or not, but they're still scouting them because even though we've got Pierre lined up already, I let them finish their job. And one other thing is I did notice that the boardroom was about to go under 75%, so that's being upgraded. Now, out of game news, which is technically in-game news, is the 1.6 patch has officially come in. I actually did preempt, weirdly enough, in terms of when the video went live, because obviously last time I did my manual team performance alterations. It was actually in the 1.6 patch that went live yesterday, as of the point of recording, when that video went live. So, weirdly, I timed it bang on. The 1.6 patch had a whole raft of changes and fixes and things, but the one that's important is, under sponsorship and finance in the patch, is fixed newly created teams spending more money on initial startup than real teams, which is something I highlighted to them, and of course has been a point of discussion in these videos. It's the reason why I'm implementing the first parties free rule from Real F1, which I think is a thing, and I don't think I made it up, but it's the reason why I'm doing that, because of that. So I'm now in a pickle because obviously that only works on new saves, but realistically we should have 20 more million in the cost cap. We are still limited just by our current balance, full stop, in fairness, in terms of anything that we want to do, but realistically we have about 20 more million in the cost cap. I think what we'll do is we'll just play with it as is, and if there is a major incident that would force us over that cost cap, then I will go in and bother to take that 20 million back out of the cost cap that we erroneously had at the start of the season. I think that's the way to do it, rather than waste my time now. If I need it, I'll put in the emergency fix that I should have had at the start of the season, but don't have because the game did it wrong. But it's good that they've acknowledged that it was wrong and it was an error and I wasn't going crazy, and therefore my implementation and reaction to it was legitimate. The other curious change in amongst this raft of changes is separate to the performance adjustments is that they've reduced the lap time delta between the front and the back, which they've written as a separate item, which implies that in addition to the performance updates, they've separately reduced effectively the total impact of a percentage point in performance index, i.e. 40% is nearer to 60% lap time wise than it was before, which means it's going to double stack with the performance adjustments that I made. I've not done it, but I'm also tempted just to create a new save just to see what the new performance index actually is and see how close I got it, but that will have to wait. The last thing to talk about is mixed team principal mentality. He's apparently unhappy that facility upgrades have started, and that's why he's not on positive mentality. So he's also unhappy with car performance, which makes literally no sense, but considering that the team results are, and constructor standings, they're all happy with that, but for some reason the car performance that has given them those results, they're unhappy with. It makes no sense. But he's happy that the boardroom's being upgraded. Again, why he would care about the boardroom, I don't know, but he's happy with that one, but for some reason unhappy with all the other facility upgrades that we just recently did. Whereas that's why Zane's on neutral, because he's happy with all four of them. Plus the fact we signed Pierre. But yeah, I don't know what's happened with Mick there. I think that's a bug. I think that's broken. But we move on. Azerbaijan. I've seen a little bit of rumour that it might be a bit crash happy. So we'll see. 18th. And yeah, we're not good here, of course, because our top speed is bad. I'm mostly doing 18th because I think there'll be crashes.
Greetings from Azerbaijan, where we're back in the country's capital. The spectacular Baku City Circuit will take drivers right through the city streets, from the narrow roads of the old town to the wide highway alongside the Caspian Sea, where cars will be fighting wheel to wheel this weekend.
Red Bull have outscored their rivals to be at the top of the constructors' table right now. And as we progress with round 17, we're well past the halfway point of the season.
It's time then for another thrilling weekend of F1 drama.
So unsurprisingly for Azerbaijan, a dry weekend, but I will see you for qualifying, and provided we get through practices unscathed, that's the goal.
Let's hope the teams took full advantage of practice. It's time for qualifying.
There are 3 periods of qualifying ahead of the drivers now. Remember, only the fastest 10 will make it through to Q3 for a shot at pole position.
Esteban Ocon there, Karun. What's the feeling around him at the moment?
Looking at the lap times, we saw a real lack of pace from them in practice. They never looked quite comfortable with the setup, and they'll need to try something new for qualifying if they want to get past Q1.
There's not much left to say, so let's get into it.
So, full disclosure here, and weirdly, thankfully, I actually put a manual save point in before qualifying, because I wanted to see if I had to undo the performance changes I made last time, because they've made the lap time delta shorter. I wondered if that was going to cause a big problem, but that's the reason why I made the save point. But I've done qualifying. Mick crashed at the end of Q2, which has cost him a chassis, front wing and suspension. Gearbox too, but that's changeable. That's fine. However, Zane got through it unscathed, but I now can't actually put him in the race. It's no issue on Mick. It allows me to put the new parts on Mick's car. However, even though it literally says they are installed, and even if I emergency manufacture it to try and get around the problem, it still won't let me install it. I appear to have been soft locked out of actually starting this race, so I'm going to have to do qualifying again, full disclosure. So because we're doing this again, I'm going to have to run through the practice update again. Kevin Magnussen crashed in practice 2, I think it was, and he crashed on the main straight, but apparently the barriers on the left-hand side of the main straight don't actually exist, and he crashed through them and ended up parked here, roughly. So that's something to pay attention to. 3 drivers at the end of practice 3, literally 25 seconds to go on the clock, red flag. 3 drivers crashed into each other. One was Daniel Ricciardo. I don't know who the 2 others were. I only know it was Daniel Ricciardo because he had an exclamation point next to him that indicated obviously he's got a penalty / needs to change car parts. So the other 2, I don't know who are involved. I think one might be Albon because he's now got a penalty for the race. I will say, just to note, first time we did this, Zane 13th overall, Mick 16th overall because he crashed at the end of Q2. So I'm not expecting much different. There's been an incident at the end of Q1 before we've even got anywhere, so Hulkenberg was out in Q1 anyway last time, so I'm not too bothered by this. He's actually done what Mick did, weirdly. That's such a weird crash. I'm so glad you actually get to see it, because it's just like you just drive in a straight line. It doesn't even seem like there's an error involved. So that might have affected other people's actual laps, I don't know. As I just go to deploy, I'll also point out this again. New update, both you can reduce them out of the way, which, again, this gives you a clearer view in general. But secondly, you can hide the URL entirely, which means you can take a screenshot at any point of the race now, which means I don't need to get out of the way, which means less editing for me overall. That actually is a layover from stream saves, when I had to manually take my camera away every time there was a highlight in case I wanted to get a thumbnail from it for the YouTube video. I don't know why I still do it on YouTube videos, because I can just hide my camera and take the screenshot and put them back on again in the final edit. So I don't know why I still do that as a thing. So I no longer need to get out of the way for replays, which is nice. Quality of life upgrade for me personally. Mick, despite being basically in the same place as Maloney and pushing his tyres in the same place as Maloney, once again seems to have a tyre issue. I don't know why it's him specifically that has a tyre issue. Also, despite sending him out immediately, like literally back to back, Mick has somehow lost the toe off Zane. Good work, Mick. I mean, he'll get tyres up to temperature just as he starts his lap anyway. We'll focus on him because he's the one more in danger. Mick got through by the skin of his teeth last time. Who's on a flying lap? Oh, there goes Hamilton. That was one of the questions. Stroll. Yeah, okay. Magnussen, Sargent, Gasly already done. Ocon, Zhou New could get out. Albon and Bottas could obviously improve to be a problem. Ocon does improve but stays behind both. Stroll's next. Improvements from both drivers. They've also, I'm pretty certain they've changed these icons, by the way, for confidence. I'm pretty certain they used to be thumbs up, thumbs down. that's now clearer. I like them because it also shows you like the severity of the up and down. I don't need to go, what confidence are they on? I know he's on very high. A bit awkward, but he got through those drivers. Stroll did go ahead. I don't know if anyone can actually go ahead. It showed Guan Yu, the only other one, but I think that's him on track and he's on an in-lap. So this is kind of pointless. We could probably bring them in, but we'll let them finish. I want to see how less skin of the teeth it was this time. Well, only 11th. His sight's on flying lap. He must be. Looks like he's going for it. Mick can go ahead of those two. And Zhou Guan Yu does get 19th at least. I don't know why Sainz was on the flying lap so late, but it takes provisional pole for this set at least. Just to try and preserve the order, I'm going to send Mick out first so Zane gets a tow. There's a car in between us, which I think is a Mercedes, but obviously they're dealt with quite quickly. Again, Zane much better on his getting his tyres up than Mick. I don't know what that issue is, but on board as we get going, trying to get Zane a faster lap. Ideally, what we need is both Mercedes into Q3, both RBs into Q3, Maloney 13th, Albon Bottas, Mick would be perfect. That'll be identical, but I suspect the top 12 might be different at the very least. Mick's actually gone slower on brand new tyres. Fathom that. Albon's actually done and Stroll is actually done, so they are primed for being taken here. There is a yellow flag, which is Sainz. That's at turn 1. That's not an issue. Unless it becomes a red flag, of course. We'll just watch him go into the barrier. Shouldn't be a red flag. We might be right. Although he's right in the spot, but everyone's already on a flying lap, so nobody's going to be going full speed through there now anyway. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they're not red flagged it. Tsunoda has got ahead of the Astons. That's good. That's one person through. That should be through. Zane seems to be closer to Mick because I can see him. Sorry. Yeah, that's the right order. I forgot we were following Zane, not Mick. So actually, it's good that Mick's going slow because he needs to be last. Hamilton's behind us. Hamilton was the one that we had to get past, so Hamilton we have to wait for. Daniel Ricciardo is out of order. Not that he's done something wrong. I mean, he's out of the positioning order. Mick has gone slower on better tyres. Maloney has got ahead of Albon and Bottas. So it's only Ricciardo that's in the wrong place, provided Hamilton goes through. Weird that there's still a yellow flag, even though there's no car here. Oh, there is still a car here. Hamilton only 10th. But Hamilton is ahead, so Maloney's up a place and that's it, thanks to Ricciardo. It's not too much of a difference, but it is a bit of a difference. We'll run with it, it's fine. I don't need to keep doing this until we get the correct one, I don't think. Same people have penalties as well, so actually I don't think this matters in the long run.
Well then, it's not long until we get started here, and we should be in for a tightly contested race.
Baku has been the scene for some major on-track battles, like Vettel and Hamilton fighting for the lead back in 2017. Will we see more drama this year, I wonder?
Drivers will be battling it out on the streets of the Baku City Circuit, a real contradiction of a track. From the long main straights where the less drag the better, to the tight turns where downforce is a necessity. Teams are going to have to work hard to get that balance right. Welcome to race day, and before we get down to it, last-minute checks are being made.
Oh good, I can actually race this time. With this, actually opted for different strategies. 4 laps is the key here. It seems like it's 7 laps maximum we can take out, so 3.5 will err on the side of taking more because incidents, as you've seen, are a thing. 13th, 11th is in the starting positions. Considering all 3 cars between the two had penalties, has Yuki Tsunoda's penalty ended up between Zane and Mick in a bizarrely thread-the-needle fashion? Because he's now got a penalty, which he didn't have after practice. But let's have a look at the strategies. One stop is viable, so I don't know why you would do anything else. Soft to hard early. Oh, it's a casual soft. Right, I see. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Oh, aggressive 2 is faster, apparently. It is a long lap, of course. Aggressive 2 is faster, and you're less likely to have confidence issues thanks to an aggressive 2. I mean, I'm just going to throw that one out there. Is that viable for Mick? It's faster than the strategy he had before. Just because Zane is ahead, I am tempted to do it that way round. Just so they're not driving with each other at the start of the race. Just so they've got a bit of differential. Incidents are strong here, of course, so be prepared for alterations. But curious, this might be the way to go.
And we certainly know what Max Verstappen is capable of.
It's a P2 start for them, an excellent opportunity, and no doubt they'll be looking to grab it with both hands.
there's no more time left. We've got a race on our hands. This is what you've been waiting for. It's the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
Yuki Tsunoda did indeed thread his way in between the two, although immediately up to 11th off the line. Good work there from Zane, but Zane's got him back in such a way that I think's actually given him confidence. No, it hasn't, because he's behind again. We'll watch Zane though, and then you can see two up arrows for high rather than 3 for Mick. Zane's having to go back at Yuki Tsunoda. Just let's see how that does confidence. Still lower than he was when he started this race, even though he's now in exactly the same spot. Confidence still a problem. I would love to be able to get to the bottom of that and actually fix confidence. That would be my crowning achievement in this game, if I could fix the confidence system somehow. It's such a weird thing to have been overlooked by patch 6. Just the raw numbers underneath the confidence system, because it was fine last year. The problem with being out of position and having faster drivers coming through, like the context situation in regards to confidence, that's going to be a problem regardless. That's that's an overhaul change. But just the balance between your gains and losses for the same action of being overtaken, re-overtaken, that thing, the fact that you're losing more for being overtaken than you're gaining for overtaking the same vehicle, the fact that that's not being fixed in 6 patches is a little weird, because that's surely just a raw number to change underneath. That's surely just a digit to change. Weird that both drivers cannot keep up. They are both going for it, aren't they? Yeah, they are both going for it. At the same time, a lot of people are actually struggling. Piastri not in DRS. Alonso not in DRS. Hamilton not in DRS. Mick's 2 seconds off the pace. Ocon's 1.4. Zhou Guanyu's 1.6. There's a lot of gaps actually appearing. Well, this they were changing the lap time deltas. I don't think they were making them worse. Or maybe something else has happened to make these gaps form. Because I'm pretty certain they said the lap time deltas were going the other way. Mick's fighting Albon. Because the Mercedes are fighting each other, for some reason removing these panels actually just removes everything from the screen. I would still quite like to say this. Mick and Albon having a right old ding-dong here, lasting the entire lap, essentially. That looked a bit... I mean, that's probably more graphically awkward than it was anything else. Sorry, hang on. Maloney? That's not in DRS, Zane. Perhaps Hamilton's taking his foot off the pedal for lap 2? Because how have you done that, Sunshine? Okay, so lap 3 begins. We need to pay attention to the conservation rate. We'll check by lap 8 how much fuel they've got back. But obviously incidents more likely to happen at the beginning of a race, as Maloney's presumably just going to filter in and keep kind of vague status quo here, because it's Russell and Stroll leading this pack. Stroll on a medium might fall through the order a bit. Kind of hoping Mick can just sort of fold in behind the soft running Albon here. The fact he's able to fight him though is quite good, just from an overall race perspective. And actually fighting him off got his confidence up. Low key, I mean, Ricciardo's at the back, but I have a feeling, obviously, like all the races, obviously, are under fueling situation and the general engine specifics. The Renault engine is faster at the start of the race because it is lighter, because of the raw amount of fuel that it needs in the first place is less than every other car. So we have a natural advantage. Even if we were fully fueled, we would be lighter than everyone else from a raw fuel perspective anyway. So we are 8 kilograms under what we need, but that's also a few kilograms lighter than every other engine spec fuel-wise. So as a result, even though it's the lowest output power-wise, the Renault engines are faster at the start of a race regardless. So that's why we tend to get slower over the course of a race, is because that situation goes the other way once the fuel starts to burn off and everyone gets closer to just normal zero. So that's why we're competitive at the beginning of the races compared to the end of the races. So whilst Maloney is 10th and fighting Stroll here, not going to get the position this time round, but as much as I would like to be optimistic, he's in for a shout of a point here. Well, Stroll now has an issue, so that could help. Ricciardo's going to come back through. That's something we do need to pay attention to. Ricciardo is going to come back through, presumably with a fresh car as well, for good measure. Also at the point of the season where people are struggling with car part engines and they're not replacing them, so Stroll's going to be one of them by the looks of things in this particular race. But a lot of them obviously happened and went to orange levels last race and the race before. So we know there's going to be a good batch of people with perfectly functioning cars because they've replaced those car parts now. I don't know why that would even counted as overtake failed, because he didn't even try. Actually, I do wonder if they fixed the confidence otherwise, because Zane's now up. I mean, he has got Hamilton, I suppose, but that's the only other position he's taken from being here to there. So he must have gained confidence elsewhere. Lap time, maybe? Hamilton's actually dropped off. It's only been 2 full laps and we've got half a kilogram of fuel back, which is probably actually not helping Zane here, because it's with the fuel in particular, you actually brake earlier. As Zane does get Stroll. Watch that one back. That's a decent move. I appreciate that. The problem is that now has put Russell well clear, or Russell's just decided to bugger off. One of the two. Ricardo does seem to be incapable of ditching Sargent. Also, real life, of course. Unlucky Sargent, I guess. That's a weird situation, isn't it? I tweeted it, but I'm kind of all for James Vowles and his methodical approach to improving Williams in real life. It's I don't understand why he's got rid of Sargent and replaced him with Colapinto. I don't understand it. I vaguely understand getting rid of Sargent. It's cruel, and it's made him a radioactive prospect that no team now ever wants to touch ever again. But like, why would you sack them now? It's when you've got a driver already lined up to replace them. I would understand it if they didn't have a driver lined up in sights, and I totally get obviously signing sights. I don't know which point OBS stopped recording there, but so I don't know how much we've actually missed of this race. But sit rep update, safety car due to Logan Sargent crashing at turn 1. People don't have tyres because of a recent bug. It seems to reset itself maybe after a replay, maybe it's just time. I don't know which is the factor, but yeah. Once you've done a pit stop, you don't have tyres for a while, for whatever reason. As a result of the pit stop, Zane is 12th, Mick is 13th, but directly behind him on a soft tyre. The safety cars come basically as people were pitting anyway, so it's sort of maybe benefited some people, sort of maybe not benefited others. It's too early to tell, really. Albon, I think, has kind of hurt the most in this respect, but he's on the back of Mick Schumacher now anyway, but with a lot worse tyres. No free pit stop involved. I was about to say, surely safety car is in this lap. Kind of weird gaps in front of these drivers that I'm looking at right now, but obviously deploy everything. No wheels on our wagon as things stand there, but never mind. We'll focus on Zane. He's actually got tyres. As we follow someone who doesn't. It's such a weird glitch. The ghosting issue doesn't seem to be completely eliminated, so I'm not sure what's fully going on there. It seems better, but it's not perfect. But as we say, incidents clear, and now we're kind of fine to go for the rest of this race a little bit. Because I think the natural recovery rate might be all right for Zane specifically now. There's immediately a VSC, because Shogun News done exactly what Sargent did, actually, I think. But it's only VSC. See, quite funny here. This is, I actually get to show you this now, because Logan Sargent did exactly the same thing, but it has the tyre on that hits the barrier in the replay. So I think that replay triggers the actual existence of the tyre again. And by doing the replay, I think everyone might be all right now. Let's have a check. Yeah, he's got all 4 tyres on his car now. Mick didn't have any. We've all got tyres again. Hamilton, Stroll. Yep, they're all back. Thank you. Thank you, Shogun Yu, for crashing and causing a highlight. Because it's now triggered everyone's tyres existence. Weird bug. Just in case tyres are a thing. I don't really mind about everything else, but it's such a weird having a VSC after a safety car because everyone's still within the same range as each other. I actually get to push the fuel now on Mick. In particular. Absolutely ruining the point of actually having soft tyres on. Worth saying. Such a fun place to actually get that going again as going through the castle. But because it means immediately there's a run. I can't also tell him to let Mick through because it's going to massively hinder Maloney in a situation like this. But he's going to stick his car down the inside of Stroll, who has an issue, of course. And hopefully in such a position where we can get Hamilton's DRS by the time that activates. Wait, Mick got Stroll as well. Do I get the Mick gets Stroll replay? I do get the Mick gets Stroll replay. So maybe just compromise that final turn. Didn't get the drive out of it, and Mick on soft tyres. Helped Stroll, who is wounded, of course, as well. So a lot of factors going into that overtake, but overtake happening behind as well. These tyres have a lot of wiggle room now as well, because don't forget these are 2... You don't have 2 soft tyres, do you, Zane? No, you don't. Yeah, still fast to do 2 mediums on full aggression. Just thought I'd check. Of course, if there's any further incidents that make a soft at the end viable, then we'll go for it. But I mean, that's Zane having to go at Hamilton. Has to concede and falls in behind, but Hamilton doesn't have DRS worth knowing. Although, has now. Both drivers' confidence is good again after the effectively safety car reset. I don't know if that actually resets the confidence system, really. Just drive around a bunch of times without any overtakes or anything to affect it. It does tend to draw it back to status quo. Great view from Mick here as we drive down the main straight. Zane's on the inside of Hamilton. Stays on the inside of Hamilton. Mick's going to really go for it here. No. I'm going to say that's a bold move if he goes for that. Hamilton does have DRS, but seems to be massively compromised out there. We're watching from Zane's perspective. I mean, it looks like he's actually trying to overtake Yuki Tsunoda there, but it's Hamilton on the outside that the highlights about. Even if it never shows him. But yeah, Hamilton's drive out of that was massively compromised. He's more than a second down. I didn't think Mick would go for it there, but he's actually gone for it during the course of the lap, which has forced Hamilton well out of range because they fought through Castle. It's brought Ricciardo into play behind as well, annoyingly, who has got Stroll as well. Points are in play here, but it will require us to somehow keep up this pace in the end of the race where we tend to lose it. So realistically, Mick needs to stay behind here before the detection point. Be sensible, Mick. Be sensible, Mick. Good lad. I mean, make your mind up which side you want to go, though, to be fair. DRS now activated. Goes to the inside. Done. That's Hamilton done. 10th and 11th. Oh, no, maybe not quite. Actually, good lad. Actually, get behind by this detection point as well. Do it on the next straight. Do it here if you can. That's actually beautifully done. That's actually beautifully done. Still doing ERS, actually, I've just realised. They're probably well out of it by now. Might just get neutral on the fuel. I know we've got stuff to spare, but we'll just burn it in periods. I think we're fine to basically burn these tyres a bit. I think with Mick, we actually need to have a look at 5 push. Where does 5 push actually go now? If we can get to lap 35 with these tyres, then that might be grand. But Maloney's 5 pushing this anyway, so actually no, for some reason he switched over on his strategy. I don't know why. That's my bad. But Maloney is 5 pushing this anyway. It just means we'll have more tyres on these at the end of the stint. Although he has lost Tsunoda. The Mick and Hamilton will fight, I think. Although Ricciardo's joined that pie and got through, annoyingly. Yellow flag. We'll watch this highlight as Schumacher overtakes Hamilton. I can speak, I swear. Into turn 1 this time. And actually clean through this time. Ricciardo's gone through and is actually fighting Maloney, annoyingly now. I think he's on softs as well, though, is Ricciardo. Crash involving multiple cars. I can see Albon's got damage. So is it Albon? It is Albon at the very, very back, annoyingly.
With not much room to move.
Oof, just gets clipped, really. I think that's more Albon going wide. Perfectly fine, just yellow flag, no faff. Bad weekend for Williams. You can see we are in play for points, but it does require someone to retire from the top 10, I think. As Maloney actually has enough in him to fight Ricciardo. Second DRS, or first DRS as it is technically, I suppose, but yeah, it's got it in him to fight and mix with him. I actually thought Mick would make more progress on softs, if I'm honest. I thought he'd be ahead of Maloney by now, but alas, no. So he seems to have enough to keep Ricciardo behind for a couple of laps, and then, oh, no, actually, he's dropped him now. I was about to say, he's got enough to keep him behind for a couple of laps, and then Ricciardo gets him back again. However, there goes Ricciardo behind. In fact, it's 2 drivers have got him there. Looking at the wrong driver, I just realised that was Mick, not Zane. But actually watching maybe from not that view. There we are. There he is. So Ricciardo's dropping now. Maybe mind you, we're burning the tyre, so I don't really know what's going on there with Ricciardo. Why he's dropped off. I mean, I get the softs maybe less good than the mediums now for people, but like we've blitzed the softs in comparison. Our pit window is open for Mick, so I think we need to let this overtake happen naturally, annoyingly, which will hurt Zane's confidence if he gets within range, of course, which is the big if. Although he is fighting Hamilton first. Perhaps on the medium, struggling now, but yeah, struggling on the medium compared to Hamilton, who I think's maybe just turned it up because he's gained on Zane as well. All right, so we'll push Mick now. Apparently Maloney's window's open. Ignore the pit stop window for... Just completely ignore the pit stop window for Zane. We'll just go as long as possible with him. Because we were obviously going to be pushing these quite close to the end. Yellow flag. Hamilton's overtaken Maloney as well. That's a Charles Leclerc in the highlight. This is up front. I think that's Perez because I can see the yellow on top. Not that much of an impact, Crofty. I think we can... Yeah. Charles Leclerc was fighting Verstappen originally, but now it's Sainz and Verstappen in this second phase. Piastri and Norris still there, of course. Norris tried to do the one stop, but I think he got caught out by an earlier safety car than necessary. Mick is fighting Ricciardo. We are still on for a point here. Who's out of the running? Oh no, Sonoda's pitted a second time. That's what's happened. If there's an incident now, then we're in the running for a points because Sonoda's pitted already. We're outside the points as things stand. Net, I think. But if there's an incident now, or some of these drivers aren't planning to pit stop, and they does work out slower for them, looking at these two drivers here who have plenty of tyre left remaining, Hulkenberg and Magnussen doing what we're doing, trying to keep this going as long as possible for Zane if we can. It might be worthwhile pitting Mick next lap. Ricciardo's pitted this lap. I need to react to that as best as I can. I can say it technically has him starting on next lap and getting to the end of the race on a 5, so we could always come off it for a period. I think realistically what we'll do, we'll just line Zane up for the lap after, because I think that's the best split, because obviously we've gained a bit of tyre because of all the incidents. We've got the fuel back as well, so now we're actually in the pit window. We'll start burning it again, because it will recover. We'll actually get Mick maybe a bit of an undercut on Zane. 3 seconds off as things stand, but Verstappen pits first out of the front runners. I say first, actually. Leclerc, Norris may not pit again. Perez definitely pitting again. Piastri, probably. 2 softs, perhaps. So it's those running that might not stop again that are the curious ones here. Or the very least the ones that we might get massive... I'm watching you as we drive out here. I've got tyres on. Please still have tyres by the time we get out of the pit. There is Ricciardo, who doesn't have tyres. I think if you watch them, then they actually go on. So the fun fact is, of course, we can actually attack these tyres the entire time. Maloney now. Burning through these. We've got to get a pit stop back, essentially, on most people. But by the time we do, we'll have lovely, lovely confidence. Because I don't know who's stopping again. Ricciardo's going to get clear, annoyingly, because of Kevin. I mean, ideally, Mick here. This could be your point to actually not go... Okay, never mind. You've got him anyway. That's fine. I was letting you do that, but never mind. All right, in Zane comes. Schumacher's got Kevin. Ricciardo's actually got on soft for this last stint, which is fun for him. I didn't know he had one spare. Could have sworn he'd use a bunch of softs. 2.4, that's our fastest ever. And might be getting us a point in the DHL at the very least. Comes out ahead of Ricciardo, who is on softs. I did watch Zane, and he has come out without tyres. Mildly unfortunate. Why is he overtaking Kevin a second time? Clear him, Mick. Clear him. Push that fuel. I think Ricciardo dragging Zane along might be the good play here, really, rather than fighting him. So Mick now well separated from both ahead and behind. We'll take him off ERS fight for the time being. In fact, if we get into a fight, let's top up a little bit. Stroll's actually pitted late. I didn't think he was going to pit at all. Onto the soft. Hamilton I don't think is pitting at all now. So it's really Hamilton that we've got to get 19 seconds on in 13 laps to have a chance at a point with Zane. We've actually left Ricciardo behind because he's got stuck on Ocon. And Mick's catching that pair. I mean, no wonder Ricciardo's getting away from him. He's light 4 tyres. It's so amusing. It's such a silly bug. Like, it doesn't affect the gameplay in any way, shape or form, but it's such a silly bug, and I love it, really. I might actually come off during this. While we're behind Ocon, just leave him on normal, really. That's your chance to get the tyre temps down and get that little extra differential tyre back, really. And back to attack. As you've somehow managed to fail to get past Ocon. Do it once you've got the DRS and then drive away with the DRS. Okay, that's worked out quite well in the end. It has bunched you up and lost Ricciardo in the process, but it's put Stroll behind him for the rest of this bit of lap. In clean air, on full 5 push, we're actually keeping the tyres not too warm, which is nice. They're warm, but they're not boiling. But Maloney, whilst clear of Ricciardo, can't make inroads on Alonso. I mean, unless this Perez issue becomes more of a problem, there could be a bit of a thing here. Both drivers decent confidence here, although they have to sit over to actually hot for a bit there. At some point, the softs will not be as fun for Ricciardo. Stroll, are you within range? No, okay. We'll take you off battle assist for now. Same with Zane. Might improve his lap time. Safety car deployed is such a fun thing at this point in time. It is Hamilton and Perez. 10 laps to go, though. It's not worth it. Norris and Leclerc, worth it because they hadn't pitted. They were going long. Hamilton was the only other one going long, actually, I think. Ocon too, seemingly, perhaps. It's worth them going... I don't know actually what they were planning, really, because he's on 46%. But we do get to see what other people are doing. Obviously, Verstappen and Sainz stayed out, but I don't think it's worthwhile. I think everyone's going to stay out now because they've all done their pit stops. There's no real benefit to anyone going onto a soft at this stage because the people have still got fresh softs behind. There's no tyre advantage to be gained. We actually had the replay come through. Did I miss the replay? I must have missed the replay. Just habit of actually telling everyone to conserve now, but Ocon pitted. That does put Zane in points. It wasn't Perez's issue going worse. It was Perez actually causing the incident, apparently. That's the fully charged notice. That's not the we're ready to go notice. Gasly actually pitted again for some reason. 2.2 fuel. That's going to be burned to the end of this. Apologies to the engine, but I don't think we've actually got the ERS fully back again. Some people still don't actually have tyres back, even though, yeah, that proves it didn't actually watch the replay. Some people haven't got their tyres back. So the Leclerc and Norris didn't have fresh softs, but they are now 4th and 5th. Well, I told you Baku is wild. Zane hasn't pitted and now doesn't have tyres. God, it was such a wild move there. That was weird. I think it massively compromised him on exit. Gasly now has a mechanical fault. I think he already had one, to be fair. I mean, double points finish. Is it possible? Mick needs to get Ricciardo. The problem is now Ricciardo's soft tyres have been saved because of that. However, I actually don't know what tyres he's on. Russell is on medium as well. Because it's impossible to know when they don't have tyres on. Four-way fight for 8, 9, 10, 11 is quite fun for the remaining 7 laps. Mick has Russell. Ricciardo's getting Russell. Wait, is Russell the sitting duck here? Right, I'm going to watch this in the hope that it resets the tyres. They don't have them on in the replay, which is a shame because it's a really fun interchange because Ricciardo gets him behind as well, I think. Compromises him out there. Oh, they still don't have him on. I think it requires a replay that involves a tyre. It's just a massive disconnect because of the medium running Russell as well, I think. But if Ricciardo and Russell can compromise each other, that would be lovely. Keep Mick fighting, although they've got Hulkenberg for company now, who gave up quite dramatically. So that definitely gives them tyres at the end for Mick. Yeah, is Russell the one we can poach from then? The gap to Tsunoda has closed a smidge, because it's realistic actually the gap to Alonso. Interesting that Zane has dropped Ricciardo. I can't watch it. It's too silly. It's too silly. Like I say, he's not actually in a battle, so we might turn it off. Mick's run out. Like I say, it was full fight push to the end anyway. Now we get to push fuel as well for good measure. They're fighting each other, which is allowing Zane to gap them. We're not actually closing on Alonso in total, but I think if they fight, that's how Zane gains. I doubted myself because it rhymed, but that was the sentence I was trying to say. Russell's back in DRS. So the points is on because of Ricciardo then. 3 laps to go, we'll watch the car who has tyres. Because it's up to Mick to get a point here for double points. He's 1.7 behind his teammate. Zane's out of DRS himself. Back to no battle assist then. Leclerc, Verstappen are fighting each other. Norris is there as well. It's 3 ways at the front. Well worth watching that on the final lap, I think. Mick has just enough to keep ahead of Ricciardo on attempt 1. Does he have enough to get past on attempt 2? No. I think long term, no. Yes, in fact he has. Harvest through here, if we can. At least we can secure Maloney some points. I don't know if we actually use any battery through there normally, but I'm just trying to gain some. Maloney's actually back in Russell's DRS, so back onto ERS assist there, please. This is the important one. This is to secure double points finish. 2 laps to go. He's got enough tyres to do it, just. His confidence is gaining every single time he succeeds, but I think he's failed that time round. He has. Although, no, he's going to fall in behind this time round. Top up over the course of the lap. Ricciardo might just be going for it now, actually. That could be part of the problem. And actually don't top up because I think you're going to get dropped, annoyingly. You are going to get dropped. That wasn't entirely him dropping. That's Ricciardo just clearly going for it now. You don't lose that much time if they're not going for it. Yeah, they can't save the tyres a little bit more, I think. A similar lap, annoyingly. Although he hasn't actually finished his lap. Hulkenberg is actually going to cause a problem here. Well, that's happening. Zane is actually overtaking Russell for an 8th place finish here, which would be 4 points to Zane if he were to hold on. This is the final lap. He has a chance to overtake by the finish line, of course, so it's not the end of the world. Neutral on this period. Ricciardo's actually zoomed up behind both of them. So we've benefited from Perez and Hamilton crashing out. We've benefited from Stroll having an issue and pitting, unfortunately, at the wrong times. So, but it is largely because Stroll's got an issue that's held him back in this race. So that's why we've got this chance. But Zane in 10th/9th/8th is interesting. Back to deploy, Mick. Back to deploy if we can. Turn off battle assist. Just go for it entirely. Deploy entirely. I mean, you've got 3% here, Zane. Deploy it. Use every last drop. I mean, what a It makes me laugh every time. Can he actually DRS past for the line? He can! It's a photo finish. It's a silly photo finish, but it's a photo finish outside the points, unfortunately. It's a good job he's got some from elsewhere. That's the mentality system in effect, by the way. That's the mentality system in effect. That's why Zane is faster here. What a silly finish. Charles Leclerc actually won again. I completely forgot to pay attention to this fight at the end. Yes. It's not cut and dry. I mean, safety cars obviously helped this one in particular, but it's not cut and dry anymore. I always love how unimpressed Lando looks when he's not winning, but on the podium. All right, then. If I have to listen to that mixed weekend every time both drivers outdo themselves, I don't know what I'm going to do. But Daniel Ricciardo up 11 to 10th. Still gets a point from the back of the grid, but 2 safety cars obviously helps. 4 points is actually all they needed to usurp Albon in the championship because of countback, it seems. Bad weekend for Williams, worth noting, of course. Solidifies that. Still only 10 points total. Huge margin to gain. The 2.84 did sneak Zayn in there, but I wish it wasn't behind my head. I might remember to get out of the way, but we're on 19 points at the bottom. Sorry, not at the bottom. That won't scroll. That's broken as well. There should be hash beneath this. It said Zayn didn't meet his target, but we still got the payout. That was weird. We did get the payout. Oh, Matt Harmon actually goes up to 80 before he goes to Ferrari. Why does it say you have front wing missing? So, the regulation vote on lowering the cost cap. I mean, if you look up unanimous in the dictionary, I love the... So our sporting director, Ferrari, have gone in for Randeep Singh. But sorry, I just got distracted by that. I love the fact that every single team realised that that was nonsense. Incidentally, we are getting close enough to the end of the season. I don't know if it's mandatory for us to actually use the FP1 reserve driver at some point, but we are getting into the period where we have a bunch of sprint races in kind of alternating weeks. So I think as of the United States Grand Prix, we will hire an affiliate driver that we actually want to use in free practice. Because I don't know if that's mandatory, but at the very least I'll do it for realism. So with that in mind, we need to look at sporting directors. Because if Ferrari have come in for Randeep, I think that implies someone's gone for theirs. I mean, these three are good, but they don't have faces. I don't think I should be able to see that. I think something's broken here. Or they've made a change to that. So Stevenson's going there. He's going... We knew that one was happening there. Wait, why are Ferrari taking Mercedes when they still have theirs? I mean, sure. Jonathan Wheatley's got a new contract with Red Bull. Alpine's still got one with Alpine. So... Oh, actually, Williams are taking theirs. Kick Sauber are taking Cotterill. This chappie's 81 rated, at the very least we'll scout him just because that's the one position we need to fill now. All of our staff are happy though. My favourite thing is actually Matt Harmon is unhappy with being replaced. He was poached first. But happy that we're signing Pierre Vacher, who's the one that's replacing him. That's my favourite thing about this mentality system right now. So we are getting pieces in to replace, I think, we are getting pieces in that fill in the gaps that are in danger. We do have 5 chassis, so I think we might be all right on that front. Both of them are high risk, though, so we better get that on the go, I think. And that should see us through the remainder of the season without any issues car part-wise there, I think, because we are close enough now. In fact, because it might require negotiation, how is our scouting information expired on drivers? I mean, irrelevant because they are the women's F1, the F1 Academy, as it's called. And they're much lower rated, so they're not going to get in a car straight away anyway. But so it's people like Dennis Hauger, Paul Aaron that we are looking at realistically. But yeah, they might require currently 9th. In fact, let's do this by standing. Let's see who is the highest rated unattached driver. Enzo Fittipaldi is the highest rated unattached driver, and Paul Aaron is actually beating, as a British driver, very high development rate as well. I thought he was British. Sorry, for some reason I thought he was British. Estonian. He's actually more happy being an affiliate, which is fun. How on earth do I get him to... That seems high for an affiliate. Might as well try to get as many as we can in. That seems... Yeah, he's on 420k with them. The affiliate driver contracts seem to be really high, and I don't know why. I might go under the hood, because I know about scouting the ones that are already attached. I might go under the hood to see what the already attached ones are. I mean, like drivers like Behrman and Antonelli, the ones that are driving in F2. Fittipaldi actually does have a very high development rate. He's 23 now, though. Literally offering what he's already on with a contract, with a signing bonus, is nowhere near. I don't understand that. I wonder if it's something to do with the patience level. So someone like Roman Shanek, maybe the markability is part of it as well. Yeah, seems weird. I'm going to get all those at the same time in 28 days, which is a bit annoying, but if worst comes to worst, I'll just stick one of the development drivers we've already got, one of the affiliates we've already got in there. Mick is literally the only one that's unhappy because of the facility upgrades, which that shouldn't be a thing. Actually gets his smoothness to 90 as things stands. That's why he's that good. But anyway, we'll get to the bottom of that affiliate issue. I don't know what's going on there, but thank you for joining me. Until next time, if you enjoyed this episode, points for Zane, alas. There we go. But if you enjoyed this, do like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, ta-ra.